Welcome to this week's edition of the Rams Roundup with the men's soccer team and head coach Jim McElderry. Jim, a bounce back week for you guys last week, 1-0-1 with a tie against Manhattan, and then a really good road win at Stetson. How would you gauge your team's play after those two games?
I think we were happy not to concede a goal against Manhattan in that it was our first clean sheet of the season, so that was a step in the right direction. We were disappointed not to win the game, as we always are if we don't win, but there were things to take away that we were happy with, just in terms of effort and commitment and a lot of guys playing. And then going on the road and playing Stetson in a tough environment was a great trip. Guys really worked hard to be winning the game 1-0. Conceded, so we were disappointed before halftime, but really understood that they were playing well, came out, scored a good goal, and really felt that we deserved to win the game in terms of chances created and defending. So we were satisfied with the trip, and now we have a couple of good days of training and off to Columbia.
Out of that Stetson game, two of your sophomore performers, Janusz Luba, Rashid New, who both pick up A10 weekly awards based on their performance in that game. A lot of expectations for both of them coming into this year after being, A10 All-Rookie team, A10 Rookie of the Year in Janusz's case. What'd you see from them going forward out of that particular game that, thinks that they've both turned a corner?
Yeah, I think it is tough. When you start the season off, the expectation is, especially for guys like that who've had such good rookie years, they want to get off flying and scoring goals and keeping balls out of the net, and then you have a couple of bumps in the road. But both of those guys have just really stuck to the task. They come, they train hard, they compete. I think both will say that their teammates have been huge assets in helping them get back on track. But really, both of them have played fairly well. They just haven't maybe got the rewards. So it was nice for our team in general to receive some accolades because everybody knows it's a team award really for these guys. So I'm happy for them and just the team in general to be recognized for their efforts.
This week you get your last non-conference game against Columbia. Always a tough opponent, especially a local rivalry here in the New York City area. What are you looking for out of that last non-conference game before A10 play starts next week?
Yeah, I love playing Columbia because, one, their coach is a good friend of mine, and they play the game the right way. It's always a really good test. We won last year. They beat us the year before. It's been one of those type of rivalries where, it kind of does go back and forth. They're having a good season. They're 4-1. They won a game the other day being down a man, scored twice, down a man against Binghamton. So they've got a really strong group. I think it's probably the strongest team they've had since I've been here. So it's a big test. Mainly because we're heading into conference, so it's good. We'll really find out where we are and then have a whole week to prepare for a very good GW team on the road.
And one last thing, the 1996 team coming back this weekend as a part of homecoming, celebrating the 20th anniversary of their A10 title, the first A10 title for Fordham Athletics here. What does it mean for you to have as many people coming back for that, including Coach Nur, a bunch of the players coming back for tomorrow night's game, as well as the whole homecoming weekend?
Yeah, it's really important. Sometimes we're not lucky enough to have a home game on homecoming just because of the schedules and returning games. So it's really nice that it worked out that we're playing at home against a local rival that the majority of our alums played against during their time here. It was a game that was always played. So I'm happy for it to be an important type game. But really, it's just great having the guys come back to campus. It's always difficult getting guys back to campus. Some of them, we have a guy coming in from California, guys from Boston. So it's going to be a good event, and I'm really happy for them that they're getting recognized at halftime of the football game. There'll be a big crowd here on Saturday. So it's just nice having guys being connected to the program. We need their support. So anything we can do to get people to understand how important they were to our program. And winning the first A10 championship in any sport was a real milestone and fantastic for the soccer team.
Well, thanks so much, Jim, and we'll see you next week for the opening conference play.
Thanks.
We'll be right back with our player interview with junior Chris Bazzini. Here with our player interview with junior Chris Bazzini. Chris, last week you guys kind of get back on track, win against Stetson and a tie against Manhattan. How do you guys feel going into these last couple of games before conference play starts next weekend?
We had a rough start at the beginning of the year, and we just didn't get the results that we wanted. And I think having the tie and then the win, you can see kind of an upslope in our play, our combativeness, and our willingness to defend. We really wanted to have a clean sheet against Manhattan, so we've made sure we focused on tracking back and defending, and then For Stetson, we just wanted to play good soccer. We wanted to make sure we were having a good time out there while working hard, and I think it showed with the win, with the result.
How important is it to get a road win like that? Again, you're traveling a pretty good distance down to the state of Florida to pick up that 2-1 win on the road in a good environment down there. What does that do to build the team confidence?
Yeah, something we've talked about is like defending our home ground, and being able to get a win on the road is probably one of the toughest parts of any athletic sport. You're like you said, you're in a different environment, and it's a different ground. So I think that being able to win on the road shows that we can kind of go anywhere. We can deal with anything. We can deal with the hot, humid temperatures in Florida, and then come back here and play in New York City and get a good result.
This weekend, you guys wrap up non-conference play against Columbia, local rival, a very highly contested New York City rivalry.
Absolutely.
Last year, you guys win 1-0. Year before, they won that game.
Mm-hmm.
What does that game mean for this team? Again, being one of those local NYC rivals.
Right. We always got to defend our home turf. Same thing with Manhattan. It's the Battle of the Bronx, Battle of the City. And especially it's our last game before conference. So, we really want to go in battling and make sure that we're kind of roaring up for the most important part of the season, which is the conference. To defend the city title is a pretty big deal for us, especially knowing that we had the win last year. So it's also defending last year's win.
This weekend, homecoming weekend here at the Rose Hill campus. The team is honoring the 1996 team for their 20th anniversary of their A-10 title. You won an A-10 title as a freshman here. What will it mean to you to meet some of those guys and have that kind of connection with them, both being A-10 champions?
Yeah, I'm honest. I'm really excited to meet some of these guys. Like you said, there's a great connection there. It's kind of something you don't really get to experience, I guess, that often. I'm excited to meet them. I'm excited to see, maybe hear their stories, see what they had to go through. It might, help us right before the season starts, before the A-10 conference starts, to get motivated and see what they had to do, and maybe they had some tough times, and get some advice from them. I'm really excited that they're coming back for homecoming, and then we get to honor them at the football game too. Like, everyone gets to experience it, not just us.
Well, thanks so much, Chris, and best of luck on Friday against Columbia.
Thank you very much.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Ram Roundup. Special thanks to Jim McElderry and Chris Bazzini for joining us. Fordham men's soccer team in action on Friday night against Columbia University. Game time at 5 p.m. You can watch that game live on the A10 network if you can't come out for homecoming. Also follow on Twitter at Fordham Soccer. For the Fordham Ram Roundup, I'm Scott Kwiatkowski, and we'll see you next week.